Right, let's get this over with. Aston Villa. What? Are you? Seriously, what is the point of this club? You're not a global sporting empire like Manchester United, where your failures are broadcast worldwide as a sign of the apocalypse. You're not a plucky underdog like Brentford or Brighton, just happy to be here, playing nice football and selling your best players for a 500% profit. You are not big, you are not small, you are stuck forever in the footballing equivalent of purgatory. You are the premium economy of the Premier League. Being a Villa fan isn't just about watching 90 minutes of football. Oh no, it's an endless, agonising, 24/7 existential debate with yourself, your mates, and that bloke on TalkSport who still thinks John Carew is your main striker. The core of the suffering is this: you have just enough history to be arrogant, but not nearly enough recent history to back it up. You have just enough money to be ambitious, but not enough to actually break the ceiling. And you have just enough hope to be crushed season after season after season. You are the living embodiment of that meme, the one with the guy looking at the butterfly asking, "Is this a Big Six club?" No, it's not. It's just a recipe for a migraine. And today we're diving into the unique claret and blue nightmare of why supporting this club is a one-way ticket to anxiety. 1. The curse of 1982. Every club has its good old days. For most, it's a sepia-toned memory of a decent FA Cup run in the 90s. For you, you had to go and win the whole damn thing. The big one, the 1982 European Cup. And it is, without question, the single worst thing that has ever happened to you. You can't just enjoy a comfortable 10th place finish. You can't just be pleased with the trip to the Carabao Cup quarter-final. Why? Because your granddad, Mick, is sitting in the corner of the pub nursing a pint, ready to tell you how he was there in Rotterdam, how Peter with Shin bundled it over the line against Bayern Munich. That one night, 40 plus years ago, set an expectation that your club has spent 4 decades comprehensively failing to meet. It is an albatross around your neck. It's the gold-plated anchor dragging you to the bottom of the sea. That star on your badge isn't a badge of honour, it's a target. It gives fans of Chelsea, Man City and even Spurs, a club that has won nothing, the right to point and laugh. Look at the massive club struggling to beat Bournemouth. This is your curse. You're constitutionally incapable of being a normal club. You got relegated in 2016 in one of the most pathetic, spineless displays in modern history. 17 points. 17. And yet, when you came back up, you weren't just happy to be here. No. Within 2 seasons, the discourse was, why aren't we challenging for Europe? You are haunted by the ghost of a team you've only ever seen on a grainy VHS tape. You're basically the football equivalent of a guy who peaked in high school. And now, at 45, you're just paying $80 for a ticket to watch a 1-1 draw with Crystal Palace and trying to convince yourself it's part of the process. 2. The unbearable anxiety of actually being good. After years of mediocrity, after the tactical void of Steve Bruce, after the sheer, unadulterated vibes-based leadership of Steven Gerrard, which felt less like a footballing strategy and more like a stag do that got horribly out of hand, you got him. Unai Emery. And now, the real pain begins. You'd think, after all the suffering, that finally being good would be a relief. That winning the UEFA Conference League in 2024 and qualifying for the Champions League would be, fun. You are wrong. It is terrifying. A normal fan, whose team is 2-0 up at half-time, relaxes. They get another beer, they chat about how good that second goal was. You, the Aston Villa fan, enter a state of paralytic fear. You are clinically unable to enjoy it. You've seen this movie. You know how it ends. You're just waiting for the inevitable 94th minute deflected equaliser after your keeper forgets how to use his hands. Under Emery, Villa are a finely tuned tactical machine. They play a high line so high it's practically in the opponent's car park. They have a striker in Ollie Watkins who suddenly became lethal, a midfield general in Douglas Lewis who, until he inevitably leaves, looks like a deity, and a World Cup winning goalkeeper. This is competent, it's good, and you hate it, because hope is the poison. You were comfortable in 14th. You knew where you stood. You could enjoy your weekends. But hope? Hope means you are now invested. Hope means a 1-0 loss to Fulham isn't just one of those things. It's a catastrophe that proves you're not ready for the next level. Hope means that actually being in the 2024-25 Champions League isn't a joyous adventure. It's a high-stakes, high-stress exam where you're convinced you're about to be humiliated by Shakhtar Donetsk on a cold Tuesday night. You've finally been invited to the fancy party, and you're just standing in the corner, sweating through your shirt, positive that at any moment, everyone's going to find out you don't belong. 3. The Grealish hangover and financial fair play purgatory. Let's talk about Jack. Oh, you know who I mean. The hair, the calves, the $100 million to transfer to Manchester City in 2021. For one glorious summer, you were rich. You were the kid who'd found a winning lottery ticket in a hedge. You had $100 million to reinvest. And what did you do? You did exactly what every teenager who gets their first credit card does. You spent it, immediately, on a load of shiny things you didn't really need. You ran around the transfer market like a drunk in a supermarket. One Emi Buendia for $33 million, a Leon Bailey for $25 million, and, oh go on, a Danny Ings for another $25 million. It was a classic spread the money strategy, which is football speak for, we have absolutely no idea how to replace a generational talismanic talent, so we're just going to buy 3 pretty good guys and pray one of them works out. Here's the problem. That $100 million wasn't free money. It was just an advance on your future sanity. Because now, just as you're finally good, the bill has come due. Welcome to the world of PSR, profit and sustainability rules, or as you know it, the fun police. You have qualified for the Champions League. This should be a time of joyous celebration and ambitious "who are we signing" threads on Reddit. Instead, your entire 2024 summer was defined by one agonizing question. Do we have to sell Douglas Luiz to Juventus just to keep the lights on? You've become the football equivalent of a .com startup that just got a massive valuation but has no actual cash. You're Champions League rich on paper but mid-table broke in reality. Every transfer window is now a high-stakes balancing act. You can't just buy a player, you have to sell one first. This is the ultimate Villa experience. You've climbed the mountain, you've reached the summit, and now you're being told you can't afford the oxygen. You're forced to watch your rivals sign superstars while you're frantically checking the club's balance sheet, trying to figure out if you can afford the loan fee for a backup left-back. It's not football, it's forensic accounting. 4. The permanent second city chip on your shoulder. You are by definition the biggest club in England's second city, and doesn't that just sum it all up? You're not London, you're not Manchester, you are Birmingham. This gives you a permanent, unshakable chip on your shoulder that defines your entire existence. You're perpetually overlooked. When the Sky Sports pundits are doing their season previews, they'll spend 20 minutes on United's new left-back and 15 minutes on whatever chaos is happening at Chelsea. Then they'll get to you. Aston Villa. Yeah, Emery's done a good job. Watkins is decent. They'll be there or thereabouts. And that's it. You're an afterthought. This frustration would be bad enough, but it's made infinitely worse by the fact that your historic, defining, blood and thunder local rivalry is with Birmingham City, a club that, let's be honest, has spent the last decade doing a very convincing impression of a bin fire. They are not your equals. They are not even in your league. The second city derby hasn't been a meaningful Premier League fixture since 2011. You're a prize fighter whose designated arch nemesis is a guy who works in middle management at a local council. There is no glory in it. When you beat them, it's, so what? You were supposed to. When you don't, well, that's just a humiliation too dark to even comprehend. You're left in a void. You're too big for your local rivals, but you're not big enough to be taken seriously by the actual big boys. So what happens? You invent new rivalries. You try to make Wolves a thing, even though they're just there. You desperately try to convince yourselves that you have a proper rivalry with West Brom. You get weirdly aggressive against Spurs for no discernible reason. You're screaming for attention. You are desperate for anyone to acknowledge that you are massive. But the truth is, to the rest of the footballing world, you're just Villa, the well-run, slightly boring, overachieving club from the middle of the country. And that, more than any 4-0 loss, is the real insult. 5. A graveyard of next big things. There's a specific toxic cycle of hope that every Villa fan knows by heart. It starts in July. You see a transfer target confirmed tweet from a journalist with a blue check mark. You've never heard of this guy. He plays for, let's say, KRC Genk. So you rush to YouTube, you type in his name. You find a 7-minute compilation video titled, "Welcome to Aston Villa. Amazing skills, goals and assists, 2023-24 HD, set to a migraine-inducing techno track. For 7 minutes, this guy looks like a combination of Kaká and Zinedine Zidane. He's pulling off step-overs, hitting 40-yard passes. You're convinced this is the one. This is the signing that changes everything. The club pays $22 million for him. He's unveiled, holding the scarf above his head. You buy his name on the back of your new 75 shirt. 6 months later, he's made 4 substitute appearances, looks terrified of the ball, and is being quietly shipped out on loan to Stoke City. Welcome to Aston Villa, the place where prospects come to die. This isn't just bad luck, it's a club policy. For decades, your transfer strategy has been a high-speed lurch from one failed philosophy to another. Remember the great exodus after Martin O'Neill left? You sold James Milner, Gareth Barry, Ashley Young and Stuart Downing. The entire spine of a team that was consistently finishing 6th. Your genius replacements, Charles and Zogbia. A man who cost $9.5 million in 2011 and proceeded to score 5 goals in 93 appearances, all while looking like he'd rather be literally anywhere else. Then came the legendary 2015 Moneyball experiment, the infamous transfer committee. This was less Moneyball and more clown car. They sold Benteke and Delph and bought an entire League One mid-table squad. Jordan Veretout, Jordan Amavi, Jordan Ayew. They really like the name Jordan. The one genuine gem, Idrissa Gana Gueye, was so good that he immediately left for Everton as soon as you were relegated. And let's not forget Adama Traoré, a man with the physique of a Marvel superhero and the first touch of a trampoline, who you sold to Middlesbrough just before he inevitably became brilliant. And the strikers. Oh, the strikers. After Benteke, that position became a cursed chalice. Rudy Gestede, Libor Kozak, Scott Hogan. And then the post-promotion panic buys. Wesley Moraes for $22 million. A man who looked less like a Premier League striker and more like a fridge that had been pushed over. And Mbwana Samata, who scored on his debut and then seemingly evaporated into thin air. It's the "are we big" crisis in its purest form. You won't pay the $80 million for a guaranteed world beater, so you pay $25 million for 3 guys who might be good and end up with 3 duds, a crippling wage bill, and a spot in the relegation zone. You're not a football club. You're a foster home for wingers who can't cross and strikers who've forgotten where the goal is. 6. The most bipolar fan base in England. It's Saturday. 2:11 p.m. You're walking down the Witton Road. You hear the first chorus of "Hi-ho Aston Villa." The air is electric. You genuinely believe this is the day. You get to your seat in the famous Holty end. The whistle blows. Your left-back attempts a simple 5-yard pass to the centre-back. He scuffs it. It goes out for a throw-in. And then it comes. The Villa groan. It is a sound that has been studied by scientists. It is a unique, guttural frequency of pure, weaponized disappointment. It's the sound of 40,000 people's souls deflating at the exact same time. It is, without question, the most toxic, soul-crushing noise in professional sports, and it can happen, without fail, as early as the 2nd minute. This fanbase has 0 patience. Absolutely none. You are the living, breathing embodiment of the 1982 curse. You don't hope to win, you expect to win. You believe you deserve to be winning 3-0 at half-time every single game, even if you're playing Manchester City. The concept of weathering a storm or trusting the process is completely alien to you. Remember the atmosphere in the final days of the Gerrard era? It wasn't just disappointed, it was mutinous. The chants of "get out of our club" were deafening. Remember the Bruce era? An adult human being, a fan who had paid his own money to be there, got so existentially depressed by the style of football on display that he threw a cabbage at his own manager. A cabbage. Think about the logic. Who thinks to bring a cabbage to a football match? A Villa fan. A Villa fan who has been pushed so far over the edge by sideways passing and 1-0 losses that vegetable-based protest seems like a rational, well-thought-out plan. And now, even now, in the good times, under Emery in the Champions League, you're still terrified. You're 2-0 up at home against Luton, but they've just won a corner. A normal fan thinks, we'll clear this. You're mentally preparing for the 2-2 draw. You celebrate a goal not with pure, unadulterated joy, but with a brief panicked relief. A relief that will last exactly until the other team kicks off again. Going to Villa Park isn't a leisure activity. It's an endurance test. You're not the 12th man, you're the 12th nervous wreck. You don't go to support the team, you go to see just how, exactly, they're going to let you down this time. 7. The billionaires who aren't those billionaires. You look at the Premier League landscape in the 2020s. To compete, you need cash. A bottomless, borderline immoral ocean of cash. You look at Manchester City, owned by a literal nation-state. You look at Newcastle, also owned by a nation-state. You look at Chelsea, owned by a consortium that just buys other clubs for a laugh. And then you look at your owners, Nassef Sawiris and Wes Edens. On paper, they are everything you'd want. They are fabulously, absurdly, own an NBA team, wealthy. They are not incompetent buffoons like the last regime. They are serious, ambitious, smart businessmen who saved the club from financial ruin in 2018. They invested in the training ground. They're redeveloping Villa Park. They hired Unai Emery. And that's the problem. They are smart. They are sensible. This is, in the modern era, the most agonizing type of owner to have. You're stuck in billionaire purgatory. Your owners are rich enough to make you a target for FFP PSR. They're rich enough to spend $50 million on Moussa Diaby or $30 million on Pau Torres, but they are not rich enough, or more accurately, not reckless enough, to just burn $500 million, laugh at the rules and deal with the lawyers later. Your owners follow the rules. How boring, how stressful. This means you, the fan, have to live with the consequences. You get all the soulless downsides of modern football, the horrendous crypto betting sponsors, BK8. Really? The corporates speak about brand growth, the 100 tickets, but you don't get the one single upside, the endless consequence-free spending spree. You're watching Chelsea sign 47 players in one window, and you're having to sell your best academy prospects just to make the books look good for the end of the financial year. You are the definition of bringing a knife to a gunfight, except your knife is a very sensible, well-managed profit and loss spreadsheet. You have the ambition of a super club but the budget of a well-run regional business. You're trying to compete in a Formula 1 race, but your owners are insisting on obeying the speed limit and signalling before every turn. It's respectable, it's sustainable, and it is absolutely, teeth-grindingly infuriating. 8. The Academy of Agony. Every club loves to shout about its academy. "He's one of our own," is the rallying cry. But at Aston Villa, this isn't a rallying cry, it's a sales pitch. Your academy at Bodymore Heath is by all accounts phenomenal. It's a production line of slick, technical Premier League-ready talent. You produced Jack Grealish, a generational hero. You produced Jacob Ramsey, the engine of the team. And this is the final agonizing turn of the screw. Because of your sensible owners and your FFP PSR straitjacket, your academy is no longer a source of players for your first team. It's a cash farm. Under the league's profit rules, selling an academy player is pure profit. It's the financial equivalent of finding a $50 note in a pair of old jeans, and your club is addicted to it. You, the fan, get to watch these kids come up through the ranks. You see them at 17, tearing up the U21s. You get excited. "This is the one," you whisper. "He's the next Grealish." And then, as soon as he's good enough to be worth something, he's gone. Carney Chukwuemeka in 2022. You were told he was the next global superstar. You sold him to Chelsea. Cameron Archer in 2023. Looked like a natural goal scorer. Sold to Sheffield United. Aaron Ramsey, Jacob's brother. Sold to Burnley, Jadon Philogene. Sold to Hull. And in the summer of 2024, Tim Miroig-Bunam. Sold to Everton. All to balance the books and fund the next, maybe he's good, maybe he's not, signing from La Liga. The only star you did manage to keep, Jacob Ramsey, is the perfect tragic metaphor for the club itself. Brilliant, full of heart, bursting with potential, and seemingly made of wet cardboard. He's perpetually injured, a constant what-if that haunts your midfield. You're not a football club, you're a finishing school for richer teams. You get to do all the hard work, all the development, all the coaching, and then you sell them off so you can afford the wages for the latest 28-year-old loanee. It's like lovingly raising a prize-winning pig, only to have to hand it over to your neighbour's barbecue. So there you have it. You're not a proper super club, and you're not a happy-go-lucky underdog. You're just stuck permanently in the anxious middle. It's the worst of both worlds. Subscribe if you too are having an identity crisis.